Welcome to the Driven Agenda podcast, where raw journeys drive ambition and reveal the fuel behind people's success. I'm Shannon Sagan, a personal injury lawyer, entrepreneur, and founder of the Dashcam Lawyer. This podcast is all about being driven, focused, motivated, and determined to reach your goals and setting an agenda that pushes you forward. We bring you insights from top players in business, sports, real estate, investing, health, and more. Here, we dive into what it really takes to thrive with candid conversations that cut through the noise and get to the heart of people's success. My good friend, Asa Tenpao, known you since 2008-ish, 2009. For those of you who don't know him, he is one of the top kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters in the world. I have had the pleasure of knowing him, like I said, since 2008, 2009. We started off at Palm Beach Boxing, and then we trained at Crew Allen's gym, and then a little bit at Dimitri's. And then you opened up that beautiful facility a little while back, Florida Kickboxing Academy in Riviera Beach. So I spent probably 9 years training with you, watching you grow from an amateur to one of the best fighters in the world. And it's been such an honor. But if you can, for everybody listening and people who do not know who you are, give a brief kind of summary of who you are, what you do.
I'm a martial arts enthusiast. I've been doing this all my life since I was 5 years old. Getting into the game was my father's idea, putting me into martial arts. Going through the journey as I got older, I kind of looked at it as a way out for myself, as school wasn't really going the right way, and really didn't have a view on what I was going to do career-wise. So being in martial arts for so long, it kind of gave me that avenue. So I've been a martial artist my whole life. When I was 25, me and my partner decided to open up FKA, Florida Kickboxing Academy. And ever since then, we've been open for about 9 years and just continuing to grow and learn and, hopefully become more successful with all the avenues we're trying to get into. And now I'm a father of a 2.5-year-old. So the journey continues to grow and cultivate into a new way of life, with a daughter, and trying to continue with this game as well as being the business owner, and really just kind of going through life now.
Cool. I actually can't believe it's been 9 years that you've had FKA open.
Yeah.
Time flies. I remember I've been out, haven't trained up until last week. I have not trained in 6 years since I left your gym
Right.
and got lazy. And life happened, and kids. Your daughter Ripley, she is so cute. Do you have plans? Is she doing any kind of martial arts? Is that your goal? Do you see her fighting, or even want her to fight?
She'll definitely do some martial arts. As far as fighting goes, that will be reserved if she wants it or not. I'm not going to force her into anything. She will be able to defend herself and know things, but as far as like competition goes, that's a route. If she wants to go on, then I'm willing to do it. I'm not going to force her into it. It's a tough journey. It's not for everybody, but yeah, if she does it, she'll have my full support.
That's cool. And she's gonna have definitely a great teacher. You have given your nickname the American Ninja.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? What's it mean?
Yeah, the American Ninja kind of popped up during kind of like the tail end of my amateur career. We wanted to kind of get the name brand going, get a brand going a little bit more than just my name. So American Ninja, with my abilities in the ring to showcase like high level techniques, flashy stuff, um, kind of comes out of nowhere type techniques. that really kind of put in that ninja perspective, that assassin mentality, as well as being American. I wanted to make sure that, people recognize that I was from America doing my work in America. And, American Ninja just tied together. And I'm a bit of a pop culture guy too. So I've seen the movies and they're not that great, but, that kind of sparked it too.
Speaking of kind of American Ninja, American Muay Thai, one of really amazing fight I watched was you fighting Kevin Ross down in Miami, and that's when he announced his retirement. And I feel like back then, Kevin was kind of the person taking on, trying to promote Muay Thai in America, trying to make it popular and successful, and getting people to, to get into Muay Thai and kickboxing, and
Right.
I feel when he announced his retirement, he kind of passed the torch on to you literally, I think, and it seems to me you're now kind of the one in America that's taking that torch, so to speak, and now promoting it.
Yeah, as far as the competitive side of Muay Thai and American martial arts, that was my goal, was to be the best in America, um, coming through the amateurs and getting into the pro ranks. I wanted to be number one. I wanted to be considered one of the best to do it, especially from America. And Kevin Ross was at the forefront of that. And he actually was somebody that he pushed me to train harder and get to a point of his status. And to get that fight was meaningful for me because it felt like I almost cultivated that with my mind and my energy going towards martial arts, that this fight happened. And being a guy from South Florida where Muay Thai is non-existent, it's kind of unique that I was able to kind of get myself to that point. Having Kevin give the blessing of me, continuing to take this on, it was really meaningful for me, and it was a really meaningful fight. You know, emotions all around. Um, but yeah, I feel like I'm one of the guys at the forefront that is leading away. There's plenty of guys out there still doing big things, but I am at a level where I can be on. I'm at a platform where I can be, in the forefront for everybody to see American Muay Thai, American kickboxing, and American martial arts. That I take pride in that.
So, I know you've been in martial arts since 5. Me, I played tennis and soccer when I was young and in high school, but I never was a traditional sports kind of guy. The last full football game I've seen was maybe Super Bowl. I like live sports events, but I don't follow traditional
Mhm.
sports. And what I tell parents, if their kids don't seem to be into soccer, baseball, football, whatever it is, the traditional sports, they should really try martial arts because it worked for me. The second I stepped foot in the Muay Thai gym, I just became addicted and was hooked on it. And really, the only sports I watch on TV are anything combat related. Is that kind of similar situation with you?
Um, I mean, I'm a big competitor. I'm a big sports guy too. Um, As far as, like, watching sports, I watch a lot of football. I watch a lot of Miami Dolphins, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I understand the dynamic of doing competitive sports, like scholastic sports. I was in it myself. It's very demanding and it's very competitive. It's highly competitive, and the the process to kind of get to where you want to be, it's a long road, and sometimes you get left behind if you're not up to par for the, let's say, the coaches or the team. So you kind of get stuck where you can't really make you get passed on possibly by a better individual. And with traditional martial arts, it's all hard work, and you get more time to yourself to train, and not only that, the training itself is very demanding, and it's not just going through simple things like catching the ball, or just running a route or something, or hitting a baseball. Um, you're having to learn a lot of techniques and a lot of things and hone in on yourself. So for the individual who likes maybe that that time where they can really work on themselves, really try to express themselves and finding their inner self, like martial arts is a really great way. And then you have that competitive side to it where, okay, I can take this and I can go and test it. And really with football, with the training, like, or baseball, it's like you can't take really much of that and then do it, somewhere else. You can only do it in the game. With martial arts, you can do it either competitively or in the street. And yeah, I see how some people can get, like, steered away from the scholastics and want to be into the traditional arts of martial arts. So, um, for me, I like it all. I'm really, like, competitive, so I just like watching people compete.
Cool.
Sports, martial arts.
I've heard people who are not into martial arts or know about it. I've heard the occasional kind of snarky comment of misconceptions and stereotypes. What are some that you've heard from people about martial arts or fighting in general that you want to put to rest?
Um, hmm. Well, give me one.
Well, like it's violent.
Uh-huh.
Pe Fighters are bullies, professional fighters are
Mm.
bullied, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, that people who really don't know anything about the sport, they don't understand the massive amount of discipline and respect, especially in Muay Thai and kickboxing. Um, if you're in a proper gym, it's not, um you're not trained to bully people and fight people on the streets, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the last part that you said there is the biggest part, is the gym that you're at, the coach, the teacher, really separates from what you may see on TV or what others may think. Um, you see with the competitors, especially on the professional level, um, they have to do a little bit more to entertain the fans, and sometimes it can come out like a bully or too toxic or something. Or you even see, on YouTube now, you can probably pull up some martial arts teacher slamming a kid on his head, for no reason, or, and it's there. That, like, stigma is there, but it's almost that's almost in anything. But in traditional martial arts, like, I think there's a stronger stigma for discipline and ethics, and that at the pro level and what you see on TV, you kind of diminish that. Like, you don't see that as much because you have to see this persona of this person, this character, to really, like, see the traditional side where you're seeing all that discipline and growth and the excelling through the martial arts. You really need a proper instructor, a proper environment. Martial arts, as many as people there are teaching out there, not everybody should be teaching. Um, there's the biggest part is the character of the person, is how they value themselves, how they value individuals. That'll go a long way in how you see martial arts, because how they perceive it is how you'll take on the persona of the coach in a way. So, yeah, if you're in that gym and it's like a bunch of tough guys and full of testosterone, and then the coach is this kind of the same way, or, it
Kinda like
could,
the old Karate Kid movies.
yeah, in the Karate Kid way, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's, You have to do some, even though you shouldn't, you have to do due diligence on who you're training with or
Uh,
who your kids
that's
train with.
that's what I was gonna ask. So if a new parent, kid's interested in kickboxing, martial arts, whatever it is,
Yeah.
how do they know how
Yeah.
is there really a real way to know the right gym for them?
What I find is, like, you get to know the coach, and it's not so much what they can, like, do for you, or they're the world champion or anything like that. It's how they treat you, and how they treat the others around them, and that goes a long way with a lot of the students. The kids that we get, typically, they're not sports kids sometimes, like, a lot of times the scholastic sports will overtake what traditional martial arts is doing, because you're doing, like, in a way, more education. You're not just running around in playtime and fun time. There's education involved, and where you're having to, like, sit there in a stance for 8 minutes and focus and not move and be still. Definitely talk to the teachers and coaches, and have that goal. I see a lot of parents, they'll come in and they will just, like, sign up their kids on reviews, which is okay for me. um but it's not okay to take that and, like, okay, he's just another kid. This is a somebody who's really trying to get something out of their kid to do better.
Right.
Like, it's not like, oh, I want him to play in the NFL.
Mhm.
Like, I want my kid to have good character value, discipline, consistency,
Confidence,
confidence, awareness, and be able
be
to
able to defend
defend themselves, which is huge. So there's always that, and that's, like, as a coach, like, they're coming to you for that help that they may not be able to do on their own. So you have to take that responsibility highly, and set those values and those, martial arts culture, that those values into those kids. So parents, yes, do your due diligence. Talk to the coaches, talk to the owner, talk to other students that are going there, see what the vibe is like. You know, it's hard to say no when you walk in and the gym is popping, and
Yep.
there's everybody in there.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So,
And
but
just because an owner of a gym happens to be a pro fighter doesn't necessarily mean they are a good trainer
nope.
or they're a nice person. There's few of those in the industry, but there are some that kind of really want to get the attention over training their students.
Yeah. 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 The social media nowadays, and
It can
like
be
I was,
deceiving.
well, social media is very deceiving.
Um, I want to transition into actual fighting. Now, you said earlier that you're super competitive, but you can be competitive and play tennis. So you're competitive, but it's a whole nother level to want to get in the ring and face another opponent. Where does that come from? Why did you want to do something like that?
I mean, I get that asked all the time, and as I grow older, the story kind of changes now. Um, I still believe I'm the best in the world. I've have so much time in training that, like, I want to express so much in the ring, like, who I am, what I've learned, and with our sport, you don't really get to do it often. So you don't get to go week to week and reform yourself again, or get back up to the high point, or so it's a long process. And but through that process, you're developing more and more, that you're like, I gotta try this out. I gotta see. And you get to a point, for me, I'm now at a high level where I'm also a prize fighter making money. So there's a bit of that factor of, okay, I can make a really good paycheck doing what I love. And then there's I can go and test my abilities against some of the best. That to me has always been, like, the way I've lived. I've just everything I try to do, I'll put it on hard. I'll put the video game on hard. I'm playing life on hard. I'm trying to juggle 5 hats at once, and but that time that I get to go in the ring, that's like solely me. That's solely my body of work, my years of dedication, and yeah, getting punched in the face sucks. Getting kicked in the ribs sucks, and it's just something about getting in there and just, being who you are, and being able to lay that out there. And there's other parts that factor into it, but the biggest part is just testing yourself against somebody, you know, and that I really enjoy, because when you get up there and you've done it for so long, it's the tests are different. They're not as, let's say, like, when you start out, like, you're testing yourself against a bunch of passionate people, especially as an amateur. They're all passionate about doing this, and they all want to potentially get somewhere. And then after that, you become a professional. Now it's like change from a little bit of passion to business, and you have to, like, hold yourself accountable more. You have to do things that you're not accustomed to do to get your brand out there. And if you want to fight the best, you have to do those things so you can get up there to fight the best. And so that comes with it. But just testing myself, and continuing to get in there, and see how good I am, see what I got.
Fear. I imagine it's in every fighter's minds. They all have different fears. So when you are either preparing for a fight, the day of the fight, or walking in the ring, is there one specific fear that is higher than all the other ones that you're thinking about? Losing, getting
Um,
badly injured, or is it something
Honestly,
totally different?
like with a lot of artists, I think we look at our body of work and we're always our hardest critics. I do get, like, nervous as far as, like, am I gonna perform up to my ability? And am I shoot like, I don't wanna underperform to who I am. There's just a bit of unknown until you get in the ring and then somebody punches you in the face, and
Then the fear goes
it
away 'cause
goes
now.
you have to, yeah, because you can't start thinking
Yeah,
about it, like, you have to react to what's happening. So there's that anticipation of getting in there. I think, like the fear of, like, dying or breaking something. I think that's if I don't think you're getting to that point, if you have that. So I don't think you're getting into the ring if you have that. Like, if you have that mentality, then it's probably gonna happen.
okay. And you've had, uh, plenty of wins, but you've also had some injuries. I think the last
Yeah.
time I saw you, you had an injury.
Yeah.
So, clearly need to be mentally tough, to be able to accept something like that. Briefly, I wanna talk about kind of training for a fight, mental preparation, eating, sleeping. What's your attitude towards other people? Are you kinda grouchy when you're in that zone?
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about it and what it takes to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a full lifestyle. It's waking up and going to sleep the same way. Wake up, get your diet right, get out, start your training session, come back, eat again, maybe take a rest, go back, train again, eat again, sleep, recover, wake up, do it again.
Right.
For most fighters, they'll do like an 8-week camp that is strenuous, and just focused on their opponent or what's about to happen. So you'll spend at least, like, you'll do 2 a days throughout that month a lot of times, where you're coming morning and night. Um, by the end of those months, you'll be peaking, on your ability with everything, your conditioning, your mental, and then you get into your fight week and you start cutting your weight, and getting your weight down to the proper weight, and yeah, you go into the next day into the fight. So the process is it's strenuous, and it should be uncomfortable, should be something that you have to push through, fight through a lot when you're in that kind of setting. So when you get to the fight, it's normal. It's a normal, it's not nothing new. Like, you have to push yourself harder, harder. It's not nothing new that you're getting punched in the face and kicked in the legs and the body. Um, so yeah, putting yourself in that strenuous environment where you can, put yourself uncomfortable and you can push past those things, that'll help push you past in the fight and get you over. So yeah, training is very it's a toll. It's a habit. You have to form a good habit. And even when you're outside of those 2 months, you're still having to maintain yourself, still having to go to the gym and continue on honing your skills, because they'll start to leave as you get older, for sure.
Oh, I know that for sure. Your amateur and professional record is absolutely amazing. The majority of your fights are wins throughout your entire career, but you've had a couple losses. What happens to you? What are you thinking when you have a loss? Is there something that you're changing? What are you saying, telling yourself in your head? How are you pumping yourself up to make sure you win the next fight?
Yeah, for me personally, losing sucks. You know, it feels like it's like a stop a stopgap real quick, and you're losing momentum. Again, this sport, sometimes it takes a while for you to get your next one, so you're trying to ride your momentum, that wave. Um, Ultimately, you just got to get back into the gym, start training again, start forming better habits. Um, and you kind of have to choose, like, all right, I can't do this anymore. Then I kind of have to step aside. And if you feel like, there's more I can do, you still feel strongly about that, like, there's more that I could have done. That's a good sign to continue on and push, and to keep developing yourself, because it's endless. It's a limitless sport. Outside of competing, it's, as far as technique goes, it's almost limitless. So, for me, when my most recent loss was on a big stage, and it would have kind of pushed me over into a spotlight that I haven't been at yet. And um, having losing that fight, it took like a big perspective on me, because I'm also a father now, and having to think about the well-being of myself a little bit more, and me being there for my daughter, um, and also providing, like, this is the way of I was providing for myself as well. So, you don't want you think about those things, like, is this enough? Am I really doing enough to, you know, provide for myself, and, like, is this worth it? Um, so I think it's okay to ask yourself those questions. I think it's okay to, think about those things, because you're thinking about what's meaningful to you and what you want. And I know I want to fight. I know I still want to compete. And that, to me, like, helps me get back in there and start training again. And most fighters will be like that too. They'll lose a fight and they're like, you know what, I'm getting back in the gym Monday. And that's the right mentality. you just got to get back on the horse and keep developing yourself. Like it's a lifestyle. So every fight is a tell. The losses are just more telling. Um, so you lick your wounds, figure out what's right, and then you
Get
get
your
back
ass
to
get your
that.
ass back going.
Yep, pull your bootstraps up.
Um, your future in fighting, do you have a set age, number of fights, or what? We're just gonna ride it fight to fight and go from there?
Yeah, if you asked me when I was 20, I would have probably told you I would have been done by now.
Because it sounds so old.
Yeah,
Yeah, how old are you now?
35.
Yeah, shit, I remember I was 35 when I was training. Now I'm 50, so
19
time
will
flies. Yeah,
remember.
and you think that, that age is old, and then you get there and you realize it's older, but
Yeah,
not retirement.
the new athlete is a bit different. We there's so much more access to health, and you have so much more access to like high level athletes that you can almost emulate their lifestyle. I was really big on watching champions, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, guys who have been doing it and stay doing it at the highest level. Try to emulate their training, try to emulate what they're doing, not try to be them, but their greatness is for a reason. And when now that I am 35, I am on the tail end of a career. It's hard to put a number on it. It really is.
But you still got the fire in you,
Still got the fire. I still want to get out
still
there
have
and
things to prove.
yeah, just not
You're
to
on
people, just to myself.
and you're on the biggest stage. In my opinion, one championship, there is nothing that compares to them. I know UFC is a big deal to certain people, but if any of you have listening have not seen one championship, it is just another level, and they've got different formats of fighting. And it's really fun to watch people like Asa doing this because they're super fast. And if you get the opportunity to see a live fight, even if it's an amateur fight, it's just an absolutely amazing experience to hear, you know, one shin hitting another shin or a rib or something. And yes, it can be violent, but they call it beautiful violence. I really encourage anyone who doesn't have a lot of experience in martial arts, especially kickboxing, to go check a live fight out. You may come out very surprised. We're getting close to the end here, but do you have a memorable fight, whether amateur or not, MMA? I know you did a little MMA, kickboxing, whatever it is. Do you have like one fight that just stands out in history?
Just one, I would say the Kevin Ross fight, because it was my world championship fight. It was the changing of the guard. Felt like it was something I really, really earned. Being able to like get that notoriety, um, fight for a world championship in front of my father as well, who passed away, in front of my mother as well. It it's it's been it's one of those moments that it's hard to you'll like you can only write it in a book sometimes, and I was able to get that moment for myself and then seize it, and it almost got like a bigger chip on my shoulder, but like it also got like another chip off my shoulder. Like for me, martial arts is not just Muay Thai. It's not just kickboxing. It's forever. So I always wanted to get that Muay Thai title at a good at a like fight one of the best. So getting that fight was like solidifying in a way my Muay Thai career for me, especially as an American Muay Thai artist. That's really all I really wanted. I wasn't aspiring to go like fight the Thais,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Oh, next level, yeah.
go into the stadiums and all that. Like I'm a bit of a prize fighter. I know I'm fighting for money, so um but that was my glory fight for me because it put me in a status that I would be one of the best from America.
I was there that night. I do agree with you. It was a magical night. The entire event. I don't know how much you got to see, but all the fights were amazing. The whole thing came together. Dimitri and Muay Thai Addict and Steven and Everett them put on a really amazing event for their first time. Um, but if anyone hasn't seen Asa and Kevin's fight, it actually was a really fun one. And then it was kind of bittersweet seeing Kevin retire and passing the torch. Um, you're pretty famous now in this world. We all know Muay Thai, no one's making tons of money in it,
Yeah.
but you're fortunate enough to now make decent money with one championship. I know they're very fair to their fighters. It's taking you to another level, and especially in Muay Thai and kickboxing, you're super famous. Um, how do you deal with that? You've always been kind of humble and chill guy. I don't know that it really even affects you, but um, I'm sure you get people DMing you. I know you got tons of followers. Has anything changed as far as that's concerned? The fame?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit of like to myself, like um, it's. I'll say the hard part is like remembering people
Yeah,
who have known me from years.
right.
I'll see them at shows, and I'll have to try to put the face to a name. But it's always like it's always heartwarming when I get to see those people again and they tell me about that stuff and I have to like kind of think back like man, it's been a long road, like
Yeah.
it's been a long journey that I've met so many people, so many good people, and yeah, that the fame has helped. I've capitalized on the fame by opening up a business, and
As you should, because like I said, there's not a lot of money in this business. You
right,
really have to go into it knowing that this is your passion and finding creative ways to make money because it's definitely not
yeah,
fighting. And I remember when you were an amateur, you were like everyone knew you in South Florida. And then as you're getting better, now everyone in Florida knows you. And then we start competing and finish your career in TBA and the entire country and part of the amateur world knows you. And now you're on a platform of one championship that has millions of followers, and now you're worldwide. So it's cool to see that. Cool to see you're still same personality you've always had. You're not cocky, but I tell people, you know, the MMA fighters, you can tell they can fight by the ears.
yeah.
The kickboxers, Muay Thai, they're all good looking. Some of them are nerdy. You don't want to mess with them
Yeah.
because they're killers. And you've always been humble. You've been a good friend of mine. I've enjoyed following your journey, being your friend, sponsoring you, and I look forward to whatever you have left in your future with fighting. Hopefully, one day I can get back to FKA. But speaking of that, I'd like to ask, you know, this podcast is called The Driven Agenda, and it's about people who are driven and doing really good things in their careers. What is it that keeps you driven?
Haven't done everything I wanted to do. Um, when especially when I got the business, I set out to be w in martial arts, I wanted to be the best, plain and simple. So whatever I touched in martial arts, I want it to be the best. With the gym, it's opened up a whole 'nother thing of opportunities for me. Coaching these young kids now, coaching teenagers, coaching the adults, seeing how much they get out of it, seeing them passionately, taking martial arts and learning from myself and my coaches, like just striving to be better and better, and then them wanting that as well. Like it's strange to most when they see what we do, but everybody's literally trying to get better
Mm.
every single day. And like where do you go that like outside of a gym, like where do you go to get that? And um seeing people develop and then having having them follow passionately and get to a point where they can fight and maybe do this on their own or even teach. Um, that part really kind of pushes me, to keep going, to keep showing, what I'm made of. And I feel like I'm a bit of like a conundrum. Like I'm a little guy. I don't look like a fighter. I do things like you don't do as a fighter. You don't open the same business as a fighter. You don't coach a bunch of people on a world level. Um, and you don't fight on a world level and do all those things. And I keep stacking that, and I keep wanting to stack that more and more. And I just want to show people like your ability to do something is limitless. Like if you really put your mind into it, and you really work on yourself and your consistency and everything. So yeah, it keeps me going. And then yeah, got to put some fun on the table, and
I hear you.
it's what I'm good at.
I hear you. Why don't you, as we're closing out, why don't you tell everybody how they can follow you, how they can get in touch with you, talk about the gym.
Yeah, you can follow me. My Instagram is just my full name, Asa Tempao. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. You can also follow the gym, Florida Kickboxing Academy. It's on Instagram and Facebook. Um, yeah, we're out here in West Palm Beach. We're a little niche gym, big gym, 7,000 square feet. So if you guys are interested in coming by and learning martial arts, and we specifically focus on kickboxing and Muay Thai. We have a very family-friendly environment. You can bring your kids. Um, yeah, what we do there, we try to grow the sport as well. Trying to get more kids involved, get them actively competing as well. So working on it, continuing to grow the sport here in South Florida, and hopefully you guys can stop by and come check it out.
Cool. Asa, appreciate your time. It's good to see you as always.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Driven Agenda podcast. If you found inspiration today, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Join us next time as we continue exploring the stories and ambition that fuel real success. Until then, keep pushing boundaries and stay driven.